guys, Sid from Sid's Trains here, and today I'm going to be showing you some projects I've been working on during this quarantine we're having due to the coronavirus. So as most of us all know, almost the entire world and especially the US is currently in a big quarantine due to the coronavirus, and that means nobody can really go anywhere. You have to stay at home and really just to kind of stay in shelter. But luckily for us train guys, this gives us time to work on things that we wouldn't usually be able to work on because there's not a lot of time to do things. So over these past couple of weeks, I've been working on a couple different projects, and these four things in front of you are the projects. So let's take a closer look at each one of them. So starting out with this flat car here. These are flat cars that my dad likes to collect. They're these Lionel tin flat cars from the post-war era, and he just likes to collect them, and this is just one of them. And usually they'd have logs or something on, but my dad decided to cut some copper pipe that he had laying around, and he just cut some for a couple of these flat cars, and now we have some kind of variety of the loads for these cars, and that was kind of cool. So now I'll move this along, and now we can take a look at the next thing. So here is my Lionel C&O Yellow Belly Hudson, and this is from 1995. It has command control and rail sounds. It's a really nice engine, and it runs well. I have no issues with it, but as lots of old engines do, they don't have LED lighting. This engine just had this simple bulb here, and while it worked, it didn't really light up everything. Well, it was supposed to light up the headlight and these number boards up here, which it did, but it wasn't very bright, and you couldn't really see that the number boards were lit up. So I decided to add LED lighting to the headlight and the number boards on this engine. So let me flick on the power, and I'll show you that. So here's the headlight and the number boards lit up. It's really bright now, and it's this nice kind of warm white color. I'll show you this pack of LEDs I got is what I've been using to upgrade the headlights and lights and certain things. This is just a 100 pack of warm white LEDs. They're 3 to 3.2 volt LEDs, and then you can add in a resistor, such as these 480 ohm resistors, to then prevent the LEDs from burning out. And they work really well, and I have the headlight wired as one thing, and then the number boards are wired in series, and that works really well. And overall, this just looks really good, and it's very bright, and I can see that everything is lit up. And personally, I just really like the color and the fact that it's bright. Most of the old trains didn't have very bright lights, so this is definitely a good upgrade to what was there before. So now let's take a look at the next thing that I did some work on. So this is my K-Line Reading Crusader, and a while back I did a video on this engine on how I upgraded that. You can click the link in the top right corner if you want to see that. And it was just showing you how I upgraded to command control with rail sounds, fan-driven smoke, and some other features as well. And since then, I've added some things during this time in quarantine. I've been doing some work on this engine. So let me show you that. First off, as I showed you with the Yellow Belly before, with this engine I did add a LED headlight and LED lights for the number boards and marker lights. And that looks really good now. And I also hooked up the LED for the headlight to the super chuffer that's in this engine, which is a product from Gunrunner John. And that allowed me to give this engine Rule 17 lighting. So when the engine is just sitting, it is a kind of dim color, kind of white color, and then when the engine starts moving, it gets brighter and is a nice warm, bright white color. And that is Rule 17 lighting. It goes from being dim at a stop to then bright when moving. And that was very nice to add, and it looks really good now. And another thing I'm doing is this engine, as I said before, this is the smoke unit from it. This is a Lionel fan-driven smoke unit that I added into this engine. And I've taken it out because Previously, I had it mounted with this little piece of brass here on the inside of the shell, and then it was kind of double-sided taped up in there, and it worked well. Everything worked. It sat up in there, and nothing was wrong. But I wanted to be able to have it just sit on the chassis, and when I left the shell off, the smoking would stay there. So here's a little paper cut out of a bracket that I'm slowly making out of brass. And this is just a template, and the bracket will sit like this on the chassis with this kind of angled up, and then it will clip on right here like that. And that will then allow me to take the shell off without the smoke unit coming. And that just means there's less wires going from the chassis to the shell, which makes it easier to take the shell off. And that's just another project I've been working on. I'll show you I'll do another update on the smoke unit setup when I'm done with that. But I really like this engine now, and let me turn on the power and show you the LED lighting at the front. So here's the power on. As you can see, nice warm white LED headlight, and then the number boards and marker lights are lit up as well. And when you see this engine running later, I'll show you the Rule 17 lighting. So now let's move on to the final project that I've been working on. So rolling forward right now is my MTH K4 torpedo, and you saw that in the background when I was talking earlier, and that is not what I was working on. That engine is perfectly fine, there's nothing wrong with it, and there's not really anything to upgrade on it. But what is behind it is what I've been working on. It's these K-line passenger cars that go with my K-line torpedo. And let me just stop the train here in a second, and then I'll show you what I've been doing with these cars. So with all the cars, or most of the cars in the shot, since there's too many cars to really get in one full shot, I've been upgrading these cars to LED lighting. Before, they had these bulbs in them. They were this little chain of bulbs that were all connected together. And they worked, but they weren't very bright, and they slowly were burning out, so I decided to replace them with LED lighting. And as you can see, it's pretty bright, and it's this nice warm white color. And let me give you some close-ups here. Here's a closer shot of one of the cars. As you can see, again, it's this nice bright warm white color. It's almost a little yellow due to the interiors being white and the color kind of reflecting and just changing due to the color of the inside of the interiors. But overall, I think it looks good, and I can pan along the cars and just show you the different cars. They all have the same colors. And then I'll show you the end car, which I've also done some upgrades on. So here's the end car, and not only have I added LED lighting to the interior, but I've added LED lighting to the exterior. These marker lights have a red LED behind each one of them, lighting them up. The PRR keystone here has an LED behind it, lighting it up. And then I've added a cool white LED behind the kind of backup light at the end of the train. It's not really a backup light, but it's the end of train light. And I personally feel that the cool white LED has always just looked kind of neat on the back of a train. It kind of sets things off and is kind of unique, and definitely shows that there's a train there on the tracks. It just, I feel like in the real world it would have been a very bright color, and cool white LEDs are definitely brighter than the warm white LEDs that are on the inside of the cars. So I decided to put the cool white LED. And let me grab something here. I never showed you the LEDs that I've been putting in these cars. Here are the LEDs I've been putting in these cars. It's this LED strip, and you can buy these LED strips on Amazon. They can buy multiple feet of it in one pack, and then you also install a resistor, like I did with the other headlights, to prevent them from burning out. But that's how I upgraded them, and overall I think this console looks really good now. Actually, one quick thing before we run everything around the layout, I wanted to give you a view of these cars with the lights off. And the warm white LEDs are definitely bright, and that cool white LED at the end is definitely very bright. It's a really bright glow, and in the dark you can more easily see the red LEDs on these marker lights as they're kind of dim when the lights are on. But this looks really good, and now let's run everything around the layout. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, like, subscribe, and click the bell for notifications. Comment below and tell others about the channel. I'm Sid, and I'll see you next time, guys.